Well, I think we might as well move forward, huh, Bob?
Yep.
All right. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Long Beach Building Commission for November. The first order of business, first call the meeting to order at 1:03. First order of business is the approval of the minutes from the October meeting. Everybody got them?
I'll move approved, Joy.
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Joe.
I didn't know what to do first. Okay, because I know Joy just said something. I wanted to make sure. Okay.
You need a second first, Joe.
Okay, fine.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
That's what I was wondering, John. I wasn't sure. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So, two comments. I think that when in the minutes, in old business, we talked about the swimming pool at 1900 Lakeshore Drive, and we denied it because we were waiting for other stuff to come. But I believe in new business that we actually did approve the swimming pool at 1900 Lakeshore Drive. Or
Yes,
maybe
we did.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then number two, on the last one, on number 26, we have 2516 with a question mark.
Yes.
I think that's where we have two permits for 2516 in front of us, and the one permit was for the foundation, and I think we were just waiting for something, and I think it was finally approved. Well, I guess that was approved on November 1st, so I'm wrong then. Okay, all right. No, the only question I have is that the 1900 and the question mark, I believe you're asking on 2516 is for the foundation. Okay.
All right. So we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes with the notes according to Joe. All those in favor? Oh, we have to do it individually, right? Bob LeMay,
Yes.
Joy Schmidt,
Aye.
John Coker,
Aye.
Joe Jogman,
Yes.
myself, yes. Okay. We'll stick those in the
Did
circular.
you get that printed up?
Next is the commissioner's report. We had 16 permits with construction costs of $2,029,064, which generated fees of $21,477. Pardon me. We received 97 calls on permits and/or information requests. Lou is not here. I'll get his site visits and inspections before we get the next meeting. I think Lou's going to be gone for a week. Any questions or comments on the commissioner's report? Okay, moving right along. Old business, the 2300, there's still, and Chris, I don't remember what the name of that document is that you guys are working on, but I'm assuming that's still in the works.
Yes, in fact, I received correspondence from their attorney that they were out of town and that he was going to give me something by the end of this week. So that's still, it's in their court.
Sounds good. 5, the situation, fortunate, I did down there this past month, and I'm going to have to call Tim and meet him down there. Next week's a tough week for me, so it'll probably be the week after. I'm sure they'll be up for Thanksgiving, so we should be able to make some time. 2216, number 6, 2216 Lakeshore Drive is beach stairs. We were holding that for the ordinance revision, the stair ordinance. And one of the issues with the stairs proposed at 2216 is that they were fabricated out of wood, and our ordinance calls for, or the new ordinance, pardon me, calls for steel or aluminum. Right, Bob?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, yeah, that would have to be denied.
I'll convey that to Pat Clifford and tell him he just needs to get them redesigned and fabricated out of steel.
Well, and they can only go 42 inches out from the base of the seawall. And so typically what people do to do that is to put a platform and then run their stairs down parallel with the seawall.
Right. And they have to get a DNR permit and an Army Corps permit.
Yeah, and that's all spelled out in that ordinance.
Okay. So I'll convey that to Pat so he knows what's going on there.
Yeah, you could refer him to the stair section of the shoreline protection ordinance.
Okay. Actually, number 7 is basically the same thing. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't live on the lakeside, so I don't know. Did Bill send copies of the ordinances out, of that ordinance out, Bob?
Yes, I think he did finally get it sent out to everybody. Now, these are folks who are in violation of our ordinance. They knew they were in violation of our ordinance. Chris, you've had contact with these people?
Between Lou and I, we are working on that and verifying it. Also, so these are offhand, I don't know exactly all of these. And then the only ones that have been grandfathered to date, and that the town copied were the oldest and Bryant property and the Icorn. So the rest of it, Lou and I are still working on, and unless people have permits, they'll be subject to those enforcements.
And have we made any decision as to when that, I think the letter just went out to those folks, although I think they all knew well before that letter went out that they were in violation.
I think that if things aren't cleared up, then we'll be back for you guys to decide, what formal actions going forward.
So next month's meeting, maybe we can take formal action.
Yeah, at first, yeah. If those aren't, or if they're not applying for permits or variances or whatever they need to do.
Okay.
Okay. Moving to number 8, 1612 Indianapolis. We had given them, I don't know if I want to call it a partial permit, whatever we want to call it, but we'd given them approval to do the roof repair and any siding repair that had to be done in order to keep water from coming in the house. I know Lou has been over there, but unfortunately he's not here. Joy, have you had any contact with any of them?
No, I haven't had contact with any of them, but I can tell you all of their work is completed with the exception of the railing on their deck. So that's all that's left. The siding, the soffits, the fascia, everything's roofing, everything's been completed.
Okay. I'll check
And
with.
still we have no site plan or survey.
Well, and one of the discussions, this is Chris, the communication, as Lou determined, whatever they needed to do to secure their building, that's done. And they were given through today's meeting to comply and submit what they do. So we do have a pending lawsuit, and if it's the commission's intention to move forward with enforcement of that, then that will be the action taken. So, and that was communicated to them through their attorney. So the ball is, as far as enforcement the ball's in their court to either, and again, through today, was to finish and submit and continue down the path of making sure all that was in order, or, tear out the illegal work, right? That's the other fix, and pay the fines that were subject to that. So
And today was the deadline, correct?
that was the gentle person's agreement, that we would move
Okay.
forward. And the message given to them was that the building commission, in good faith, was working with them last month to allow them to secure their property, with the understanding that, not much more patience for non-compliance if they don't correct the other errors. So I'm paraphrasing there, but that was the message that was given.
I would
Sorry.
move that we proceed with enforcement.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And understand that lawsuit is already pending, and that was filed in January of this year. So, and not that I want to put him on the spot, because he may or may not be involved formally. Attorney Adamski was involved, and he's on here today, but I'm not putting him on the spot to speak for them today. But after this meeting, I will circle back with him on that issue, because understand we have parallel issues here, and he was formally retained on the permit issue with regard to securing it. I think he was trying to broker resolution for the other, but unless and until he's formally in on that other one, we'll figure that out. But I will reach out to him with the hope that this gets resolved, but they understand that the message is we're moving forward with the litigation.
And message received, Chris. I do believe I have entered my appearance on that, so we can talk after the meeting. This is Brad Adamski. Sorry for jumping in.
Got it. Thanks, Brad. Bob, I think that kind of negates we're already in the enforcement mode, so I don't know that we need, if you want to pull your motion.
Well, I think we were giving them some time with that, per that gentleman's agreement, and I don't think we're being treated like gentlemen. We haven't heard anything. There's been radio silence. We gave them till today to put in a formal permit, and they didn't do it.
Well, they have the permit. They have to fill in the blanks on as Joy has been saying, I don't know, Joy, correct me, at least 6 months. One of the major things missing is the site plan that shows all the detail, and that's been delineated. They have all of that. So, I'll speak to Mr. Adamski, and they know that lawsuit that's been pending. So in the event that route is the one that has to be going, that's already initiated. As we've done with others, hopefully it gets resolved, but it's time to move forward, and they've been advised of that.
You comfortable with that, Bob and Joy?
There's still no survey.
Right, enjoy that. I've communicated all of those details, so the ball is definitely in their court with regard to that.
Okay, I'm good then.
Hey, Bob, are you all right with that?
As long as we're doing all we can to get this resolved, I think any more delay on our part would be unforgivable.
Got it. Okay, 2007 Oriole. I have not seen the site plan that we asked for. Chris, are you on here? Unless Lou has gotten it, but Joe, did you and Lou talk about that at all?
No, not at all. I don't think Lou had anything, but I can't. No, I don't think we have anything, but we'd have to check with Lou too.
Well, I'll call his architect, either depending on how long this meeting lasts. I'll call Roger Potratz and find out what the story is. I'm sure he wants to get the thing done, but we can't give him the permit till we have the correct information. And I'll call Roger and find out what the holdup is. Number 10, 2410. I have not seen a delineation of the National Ordinary High Water Mark. I think I explained to you guys last time What they provided was a certificate of elevation, which is for construction in a floodplain, not in a floor plan as it says minutes, but in a floodplain. So
I
Go ahead,
talked to
Joe.
Lou, I talked to Lou, and Lou said he hasn't received anything, no.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to do with this, if we just keep leaving it on here, and I guess that's what we'll do. We'll wait another month and see if we get the info. Number 11, 1417 Lakeshore Drive. We talked about that last month. They went before the BZA, and at the BZA meeting, I think maybe after, Bob, you had made mention to the owners, or the architect, I should say, about there may be some compliance issues with the steep
Topography?
grade. Pardon me?
Yeah. The topography ordinance?
Right, with the steep grade. And I don't see that. I mean, anytime you're obviously going to build a home, you're going to dig a hole first, but they're not changing, at least from what I see, they're not changing the grade of that area significantly around the house or even down below. There is some retainage that will have to be done.
Larry, can I chime in on that topography?
Sure.
Because it comes up, and I see that we have some applicants that are on here, the O'Neills, that in general, that ordinance as written, and I know we discuss it, but it really gives some deference and direction to the building commissioner, so that it's very clear on, minimizing, removing dunes, minimizing the what you're doing to the vegetation, et cetera, around, and the impact on other properties, as well as the engineering. And I'm paraphrasing that ordinance, but there isn't anything that really gives strict parameters. And then it gives, whether it was the drafter's intentions overall, that's not for today. I just want to address it, that this commission has comfort in the process and what's being done there. That is, the way the ordinance reads is, if the building commissioner is comfortable that ducks are in a row and the engineering is there, and there's 5 or so parameters in that ordinance, if those are met, then they're not in violation of that. But and on the flip side, there's compliance, or that's taking into account. So of course it's consideration, and of course this commission should continue to look into those things, and especially the unique character of the town of Long Beach in general. But yeah, I think that ordinance is pretty vague in terms of overall of what, it doesn't give any specific parameters other than the bullet points of what the commissioner take into account in compliance with that.
Larry?
Well, go ahead, Joe.
A couple things. One, I don't see, if it's a pretty steep slope, that we maybe get our engineers just to get a backup, but that's more up to you. But I thought someplace in our ordinances, and I just remember this, when you talk about slopes, and I thought that if it was more than 3-to-1 slope, then we had to get the engineer to evaluate the stability and the engineering of that slope.
Well, and to clarify that, and that has been put out there, and it's the worst kept secret at this point. It's not a secret, but there's resolution, and something that isn't often referred to, but it's a resolution versus being part of the ordinance. And then there's a reference in the ordinances that discuss the slope, but it still gets back to the applicant demonstrating the engineering and the commissioner being comfortable that the engineering is there. And then, yes, the town has the ability to spend and always, I guess, entertain. But, bottom line is that as long as there's demonstrated compliance and they're taking into account, and compliance with the ordinance as well as the resolutions. My opinion for this commission would be that, they've met their obligations, but, there's a lot in between there because applicants have to demonstrate that they have complied and that the engineering's there and it supports what they're doing.
Well,
Larry, let me ask you, I don't recall right now where I saw it, but I did, and I could probably dig it up. Are we referencing at all? I'll call it an email, and it might not be an email, it might be something else. But I saw something from the neighbor, the neighbor to the east, with his concerns and, the engineering and the effect that it might be on his property. I don't know.
Well, Joe, you saw that
Look.
as a remonstrance to a BZA matter that isn't, I'm just clarifying that anything that's out there, it's curious because we haven't had a BZA meeting on this matter. But yes, there is somebody who's voiced an opinion and raised the issue with regard to that, but it all goes to the same thing. It's somebody could be in favor, just as if there was another neighbor that says they believe that they're all in favor of it. And I'm not advocating for position one way or the other. What I'm saying is the weight that is given to somebody's opinion for or against is what you give it. And then it's incumbent upon the building commission to make sure that there is compliance with the code. So what that letter means for this building commission isn't anything. It wasn't even submitted to this commission. It's submitted to the BZA.
No, I didn't say any of that. But Larry, if I could direct to you, whatever this letter, it's somebody's opinion. I don't deny any of that. Obviously, we all have opinions and what they're worth. But I'm just wondering how much burden or expense it is for our sake, the building commission, to reinforce the engineering that they're doing through a review by our engineer, just to have it as a backup. That maybe that would give us a little more coverage. I'm not questioning your ability, Larry, but I am questioning that maybe it wouldn't hurt if we had another opinion to review the engineer, because I believe, and you know so much better, that this seems to be a pretty steep slope compared to a lot of ones that we've dealt with.
right. Well, a couple things. First, to address the topography question that Bob raised. It's inherent in the work. When you dig a hole into the hill to put the foundations or any, even a flat foundation, you're going to dig a hole, but you're going to backfill it. So from what I've seen and had many conversations with the O'Neills and their architect, they're not going to change significantly the topography of the lot. So the second thing, as far as the engineering is concerned, what we have before us, or actually before the BZA, are drawings. They haven't done all of their engineering yet, and Pat O'Neill is in the construction business and understands what is necessary, as well as their architectural group. So we will have engineering for anything like the retaining walls or any sheet piling or anything that has to be done to bolster the lot while they're building the home. And I have confidence in that. And I'm not trying to discount your discussion, Joe, but I would think it would behoove us to see what they have when they get further along, rather than just go out and wholesale get somebody to look at it now. Because right now there's really nothing to look at from an engineering standpoint. And with the point that they're at now, and I can't speak for the O'Neills, but I think I can with pretty good amount of confidence that they want to make sure that they're going to be able to do this before they sink a ton of money into engineering and architectural flows. So
Yes.
that's where we're at, and that's why they're before the BZA.
Larry, this is Joy. Could I,
Sure.
Yes.
why is this plan not of our,
Yes, it is. It's, yeah.
You know, Joy, you're breaking up. We're actually, hey, Steve, Bob, can you mute Wilson?
I've never shut
Bob, you know,
I want to schedule us to next week.
Who is, I can't tell who's,
I think it's Steve, I saw Steve Wilson pop up.
Yeah. Hey, Steve,
he's been muted, okay.
and Joy, you have to unmute yourself. Okay, let's try it now.
my question is, why is this plan not in violation of the height ordinance?
That's another question that came up. I'm not sure if it came up at the BZA level. But certainly it's, let's talk about it and make sure that we're all comfortable with what we're doing here moving forward.
Yeah, and Larry, this is Chris, and I want to clarify, because we're straddling a line in terms of the town, because this application, they do have some pending variances. And then the reason that some of this is coming up again is to try to streamline and make sure, because there are a couple variances that came up at the BZA level that either were or were not, I don't know, and it's inconsequential to me, discussed at the original building commission and consideration. So my recommendation to you is, regardless of what is decided on issues, the O'Neills have a pending variance application that if there's anything else that's required, they at least have some time frame to make determinations with regard to maybe amending and notice requirements that are required for the BZA. So it'll be helpful for everybody, because right now we have a little bit of confusion or disconnect of what is or isn't. And, you know, I think we can all agree it certainly would be patently unfair for the O'Neills to have come before you guys give due diligence, time, effort, the BZA does same, and then to come to find out in 6 months they've got to go back for more variances. And that doesn't mean their plans can't change and that doesn't happen, but based on what's sitting before you, and as Joy points out, the topography ordinance in my mind is not a variance that needs to be requested. But the height ordinance is out there, and that remains a big determination of whether they request that or not. And so it's something that you guys should pass on. And my recommendation would be this, is that you consider that issue today, and it's a novel issue, it's a novel project, so that they can have confidence that when they go to the BZA, if you determine it isn't an issue, they don't ask for that variance, that they're not going to come back for you with final plans and all of a sudden they have to have a height variance, or vice versa. You say they need one, and then they know they've been duly advised and they can go before the BZA and ask for that variance.
All right. I think that, this is Joe, obviously. I think we have a lot, I don't know, larger is a bad word, an issue in our ordinances and definition in our ordinances, because when you start talking about the height, then you start talking about attached and detached structure. And then when you talk about attached or detached structure, then you go to a particular ordinance, and which I think needs correction from the APC, because what one interpretation is that if you have a detached garage, that cannot be in front of on the front property. But then if you go to their ordinance, that ordinance is kind of confusing, because it says detached parentheses attached. And obviously we all know every day you drive down Lakeshore Drive, there are numerous, many, if not almost all of them, lakeshore homes that are on the lakeside of Lakeshore Drive all have attached garages in the front property. So I believe that ordinance needs correction because I don't think the intent was there to be attached. And that
Hey, Joe.
ordinance, that
So-
ordinance might,
Can I help you out there and just
well, no,
for your current decision-making purposes, just from a legal interpretation, with one, I believe they're asking for that variance regardless as to placement. But regardless, in legal interpretation, so this should help you guys pass and make a decision on this. If something is ambiguous or doesn't exist in the ordinance, that will be construed against the drafter, right, or the town, and isn't taxed to the applicant on there. So to the extent it isn't clear or there needs to be changes, doesn't affect this. So I appreciate it, and maybe you initiate that before the APC, because of course some of those things just may be antiquated too, or just written poorly way back when.
Chris, I think there's a lot of them like that. And so if, Joe, you're,
yeah, but Larry, let me just finish. I'm sorry, but let me just finish. So I believe, and let's just put things aside. I believe that if it's a attached garage, and this is maybe what we should talk about. If it's an attached garage, that means the height has to be used. If it's a detached garage, I believe that the height doesn't matter because it's not part of the structure. Is that correct? That question. Forget about any definitions or anything else. Is that correct? That it depends if it's attached or detached, whether it's used for height. Is that a true statement?
you asking me or you asking Chris?
Anybody? I'm asking anybody. I want your opinions.
I think yes, Joy.
Based on what, though? I don't know that that's the case, Joe. So, I mean, we probably should give them an opportunity to present,
No,
in my opinion.
Chris,
Yeah.
wait 1 second, please. Just 1 second. All I'm asking, I'm not asking whoever the owners are. I'm not asking anybody. I'm asking our group. I'm asking whether, if by definition, if by our ordinances, that if the garage is attached, then not this property, any property. If the garage is attached, then you have to use that for height. If the garage is detached, then you don't need to use it for height. That's my question.
What I'm asking you, Joe, is, first of all, it seems that you're making a statement that if it is, sure, what part, so we're all on the same page, what part of the code are you referring to that you believe that the attached garage needs to be put in the height?
I think that's just, that I'd have to find the definitions, but I would believe that's all part of it. I don't know where it is, Chris. I don't have it in front of me right now.
All right, so let's say it's a detached garage. You're going to have to look at construction terms and try to figure that out. I mean, we've gone the route of our own ordinances to the IRC, which is the Indiana Residential Code, and which is based on the IRC, which is the International Residential Code. And half the time we come back and we end up looking it up in the dictionary. So, I mean, detached is detached. Is it part of the structure of the house? No, it's not. What connects the two is the elevator. So, I would say that it's detached. We had two other jobs on Lakeshore Drive, one at Stop 27. It's the Linen property. And then one at, I think it's 2948 Lakeshore Drive, which is the Miniot property. And both of those properties have subterranean entrances, rooms, that were not included in the height. This garage structure itself is subterranean. Now, obviously, the doors are not. They have to be accessed from the street. But the garage itself is not visible. Bob, you had made a comment at the last meeting about, we don't know what people's basements are or what have you. And that's, our ordinance says, and I can't be verbatim, but I'm going to tell you what it says is the height starts where the foundation hits a contiguous point on the ground, and that's where you measure from.
And Larry, I just want to chime in for clarification. The difference between attached, detached, right, is whether there's a structural connection. So is a 2x4, is that structural? Some of this is, we don't have a definition of what's structural. So Larry's exactly right. In legal interpretation, as we go to the International Building Code, which is adopted by reference, or we go to the dictionary, and we actually have to do that many times. But part of this is there a structural component? To me, that's the crux of the determination for this commission, is it structural? Is that a structural connection between that subterranean garage and the main home, right? Because there's going to be a foundation for the home, but is there any foundational connection and structural connection between the two? And structural has a different meaning here. And Larry, correct me if I'm wrong. Again, that's why I'm the attorney and you're the builder guy here that understands structural isn't right just a structure, but is it adding to that foundation and part of that?
So let me make sure I understand what you're saying is, so structural, in structural terms, most of the time when you talk to somebody in the building business, it's structural, meaning it supports something else. And if you're saying structural as it is a structure, meaning a doghouse, whatever, those are two different ways to look at it, I guess, Chris. And
those words are both used differently, right? We have subsurface structure that's defined in the code under the definitions, and then detached to something that is structural, right? Having a structural connection between the home and the garage. Those are two different meanings.
Right, structural and structure. So a structure, as I said, could be a doghouse. Structural is something that's going to support or is necessary to maintain the integrity of whatever is built on top or around it.
Larry,
Yeah.
On the picture, it looks like this elevator shaft is what's supporting the front of the roof.
I don't.
To that point is what I believe, and I don't know that this detail, you got into this much detail before, but their architect is here. Maybe that discussion and some proof to the building commission of what that is and a determination is that's what I'm suggesting, because I think that will help you. I wouldn't be able to tell personally from looking at the drawings and the submissions. And so then if you're presented with what those actually are, and you have Larry's expertise and in general your expertise as this commission, then you can make an informed decision on that.
Larry?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going all over the place, but do we have any expertise in the fire code? I believe, because of the elevator, that there is something in definition in the fire code that'll determine whether it's attached or detached by the firewall. And I believe if there's a particular firewall that matches or goes by the code, then it can be detached. If it doesn't have that particular firewall, then it definitely would be attached. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm just wondering, I'm just bringing that up because I think that we need investigation there, because Joy's bringing up, we have the two issues that are involved in there. Obviously that elevator shaft could be a tremendous fire risk, but obviously, I know that they're gonna do it correctly. But I think that's part of what would determine attached and detached.
Joe, I would respectfully disagree that the fire code does not determine what the building code for the town says.
Okay, that's fine.
Compliance with those, and those should be taken into consideration. So I think those are valid points in terms of what the applicant should be required to do. However, the definitions and the code are what dictate your determination of whether it is or isn't attached.
And I think they're all intertwined, Chris. And I'll have to make a point. I'm not prepared for an argument right now, but I can make a point later.
We have a Mr. Dubin. I assume you're the architect, are you, sir? Shake your head, yes or no?
No, Tom Haggerty is down below.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, that the architect, if you'd like to comment, I would think that might be helpful.
I am not
Yeah,
an architect, if you ask me. I am the neighbor next door, and also I'm an engineer.
Yeah,
Okay,
actually, yeah, okay, we really need to hear from the architect.
I understand.
At the BZA, your comments probably would be more appropriate than at building committee, because actually we're talking about
However,
the actuality of them getting their permit.
I used to write building codes. I had worked with many municipalities, Miami-Dade and Las Vegas, and actually I can help with the answer to the question on the code. I help write the IRC and the ICC, and the 30 feet height, it is not determined by any municipality, but it's because all the testing has been done in wind loads, in snow loads. So the structure, especially in this case of the elevator, is almost 60 feet tall, and it's beyond the scope of the IRC, of the ICC. It becomes the scope of the IPC, and a specific testing is to be done.
Okay,
Respectfully, this is not for, sorry, I'm the applicant, and this is not for comment right now, so.
Yeah, that's
Right.
not, it's actually
We're
not.
I appreciate your expertise, but unfortunately, you can't be part of the comments or the decision-making.
I understand.
But Tom Haggerty is available for a small presentation that I think will address all of the comments that have been brought up.
Yeah, I want to,
Yep.
I'm going to share the screen here, so we're talking about.
And Tom has a presentation as well, Larry, that points to a lot of this. If you'd like him to
Yeah,
share.
Larry, is it okay if I share
Yeah,
my
go ahead.
screen? I did put together a quick presentation, just,
Go ahead.
it actually addresses a lot of these items. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah,
Okay, so we kind of explained our building height calculations, and I think that I'm happy to go through these. I think the real question by this committee is really the connection with the garage and whether that constitutes as attached or detached. So in the Long Beach zoning ordinance, the definition of detached, having no structural connection with another building. So our garage and the house, the intent is that they're not structurally codependent, meaning that they can exist independent of each other and they're not bearing on one another. And, as Larry mentioned, we're in the preliminary, so our structural engineering is not finalized, and we would, instruct our structural engineer to structure it in this way so that they are completely independent. And the definition of principal building, one of the clauses is to give the impression that the building is a single structure. I just wanted to show this sketch, this rendering, showing that this is not intended to look like one single entity, that the garage is intended to look as though it's a separate building and edifice than the house above it. And then a quick couple comments about fire protection and separation, because that's something we wanted to address. It's very important to Pat and Paige, the owners, and just there was discussion about the limitations of the fire department, and I was hoping to get a chance to speak with the fire chief here pretty soon. But we really are making a strong case to really show that we're going above and beyond the written code and requirements for separation. So for one, the house and garage will be fully sprinkled. We'll be putting B-label 90-minute doors at all elevator access points throughout the house. That's really more of a commercial requirement. The elevator shaft itself, from the garage down here to the house, will be made of concrete, which is non-combustible. And we've confirmed with the elevator company that the rail is metal. So there will be no combustible connection between the garage and the house itself. The roof of the garage will be made out of concrete. So that'll be a Class A, non-combustible. There will be no ductwork running from the furnace of the house down to the garage, providing the pathway for smoke infiltration into the house. The elevator cab will be coated with a flame stop additive, which creates Class A fire rating. And we've confirmed with the elevator company that the elevator will be shut off by the fire alarm. And if in use, if it's in the rare circumstance that it's in use when the fire alarm goes off, that passenger can finish their trip before the elevator will shut itself off. So I think that kind of addresses a variety of the different concerns. And again, these sorts of, the doors, I believe the code is for it's either 1.5 inches or 1.75 inches solid wood door, which provides a 20-minute separation. For a garage, it's typically a 1/2 inch of drywall on the garage side to provide that 30-minute separation, whereas we would provide a 2-hour separation, and also a non-combustible, elevator shaft made out of concrete or CMU block. So that's, I hope that kind of covers some of the concern and some of the issues, and also the fully sprinkled house, I think, is a big component of this. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing.
Anybody have questions of Tom?
Larry, this is Chris. So I just want to point everybody to, as you consider this, under the definition section 154020, under the definition building height, which is subsection 9, that definition is the vertical distance defined by projecting the perimeter of the proposed building platform, also known as the footprint, on the pre-construction grade elevation, the uppermost portion of the roof. And then it talks about not including chimneys, antennas, and similar extensions. So again, the determination is this part of the footprint? And I'm just trying to throw that out there for your consideration of, this is unique. So, it is a novel project and a novel thing being proposed, but does the code address them specifically enough to make that part of the height determination is something for you to determine?
Well, I'd like to hear from everybody, because when the discussion is done, we want to be able to say to the O'Neills and Tom, it's either going to be, yes, it's part of the height, or no, it's not part of the height. So they're either going to have to ask for a variance or not ask for a variance. And I think that, Tom's done a pretty good job, and you can see the drawings there. So you see what the particulars are for this project. But I also think it's important to keep in mind what we've done in other situations of similar structures.
And Larry, thank you. Just to quickly respond to Chris's comment about the maximum height of the building, calculations and procedure. We've done a quick kind of color coding of the ordinance, the height ordinance, and compared to the way that we calculated it. And you can see that, depending on the slope of the hill, that really determines whether or not you use the 27 versus the 33. Because ours is a steeper slope, the 33 applies because we're taking it from the lowest pre-construction grade elevation and the projection of the building platform, which it gets us to that intersection right there. And that's where our calculation, that's where our measurement is taken from. So this was, I think we tried to be as meticulous and kind of follow the writing and intent as closely as possible for our calculations.
I think the O'Neills would like some assurance that if they do get what they're asking for in front of the BZA, that the building commission isn't going to come back and deny them based on the
Right,
height
absolutely.
ordinance. So given that, I would suggest that those of us present now do a straw poll. This really isn't before us, but I think they'd like some assurance that we're not going to shoot them down after they get what they're asking from the BZA. So I would just move that we what they presented, in my view, doesn't violate the height ordinance. That would be, I guess, my motion.
And Dr. Lemay, this is Chris. I'm not sure that it isn't, it's for you to determine. I'm not sure that it isn't properly before you that you can make a determination.
Mhm.
They have a pending application, right? And they were
Yeah.
told based on that application that they needed to get certain variances. You could also decide as this commission that they actually do need one. And then that would give them what they need to amend their petition so that they could, for lack of a better description, one-stop shopping before the BZA. So I do think that this commission can pass on, that application and a reconsideration of it and say that, you know what, we approve this and you need these variances and have that be a decision of this commission.
And then I retract my preamble, but I'd still like to make the motion.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second it. Coker?
Okay,
Yeah, it doesn't appear to me that it violates the height ordinance based on what's been presented.
is there comments now?
All right. But I'd like you to read, because I was, your motion was to just to get a straw poll.
I'd just like to go on record saying that the plan they presented does not violate the height ordinance.
Okay. We've got a second by John Coker. Any other discussion?
I would believe that, for myself, there's a lot of information that's been thrown out. And if I'm going to make a decision like this, I think I'd want to review the comments, review the information that was given, and then we could bring it up at another time if it has to be a special meeting or something. And I just had a different question. When we received this, did we receive a building permit application or did we receive a permit review?
We received a building permit application.
We did?
Yeah.
Because we never really discussed this on a building commission level. You gave us a report, Larry, and that was basically what happened.
Well, I generated the after some conversations with
Okay.
Neil's and their.
I'm not attacking you, Larry. That's fine. I just
I
wanted to make
understand.
that comment.
But I want to explain to you how we got here. So, in many conversations with the owners and the architect, we talked about what was wrong or not wrong, and it's a bad term. What was not in accordance and keeping with our ordinances, and that they would have to go to the BZA. I put that in the form of an email. I did make an error on the one at the driveway, which I corrected in a second email. And they put their packet together, went to the BZA. And this height topography issue came up, I think not at the BZA during the meeting. Was it after?
I raised the issue at the BZA just because I didn't want to see them ask for variances and then find out that there was, and then get granted, and then find out that there was something they hadn't asked for.
Okay. So, that's why we're here. And the same thing, I didn't want to have, as soon as I found out what happened at the BZA meeting, I sent an email off to everybody and said, we need to get this taken care of so that we don't have an issue, just as Bob and Chris have talked about. That, everything, the O'Neills and their architect think it's fine and come back to us. And we said, no, you got to go back to the drawing board. So now, and I'm not a parliamentarian, but we have a motion on the floor. We've got a seconded by John Coker. And that motion is that this, what's been presented to us does not violate our height ordinance. Any other discussion? All right, let's take it.
This Joy, I will have to, I'm going to abstain from this vote until someone can show me that elevator shaft is not structural.
Well, I guess it's structural by nature of the elevator.
This is,
Not structural, as far as the garage is concerned,
Or the house.
no,
or the,
It's the connection between the two.
Go
Right.
ahead, Joe.
I would make the same
Go ahead.
argument I made about my house at the last meeting. I've got a garage or a basement with 10-foot ceiling. So
But
does that mean I have to add 10, because that's where the foundation of my house is. And the
But
wall of my basement is structural.
but I can't see your basement from the outside.
We're talking
Well, I think
about an
what Joy-
elevator, which is a
What
shaft.
Bob is talking about is you can see his garage doors from the outside. You can't see his basement from the outside.
Yeah, and actually, I have a walk-in basement, so I do have steps that go down to my basement floor. So if somebody came up and looked down that steps, they actually can see it from the outside. But I would still contend that doesn't add to the height of my house.
And Joy, just for clarification, I just want to point you to that definition if you have access, if it helps you in your determination of building height under the definition section, it is based on projecting the perimeter of the proposed building platform, which is known as the footprint, which is the footprint of the home. Detached or attached in this matter, I do not believe to be dispositive. If you're asking me to, bottom line is I don't think that the code as written deals with this or contemplates that the elevator shaft is part of the foundation that would then, or the footprint that would then trigger the inclusion for the calculation. But again, obviously you're just decision maker on that. I'm just pointing you back to that of where footprint comes in. That word, in legal interpretation, words are not to be anticipated as being in there for the sake of being there, right? They have meaning, and that footprint does not contemplate the garage or that elevator shaft. It isn't part of it.
Okay.
And just to remind everybody, one of the gentlemen that spoke a minute or two ago said that the engineering process isn't finished. And I think there's still a lot of things that are still on the table. And anyway, that's my opinion.
Joe, for the record, I think those are good points in that goes to the overall issuance of the building permit to make sure that they've complied. Those are all valid, and I think they have a long way to go in terms of actually getting their building permit and putting these plans into practice. So those are.
Sorry. All right, so we have a motion on the floor, seconded by John Coker. Any other discussion?
Hey, Larry, can I add one comment
Sure.
to address, this is Tom Haggerty, architect. That again, the engineering is not finalized, and that we can instruct, if it's a matter, if it's a requirement of the commission that the elevator shaft is not part of the superstructure, the primary structure of the house, then that's how we will instruct them to structure the house. And so if that's the concern by one of the committee members, then that's how we will instruct them to finalize the structural design of the house. Just to be clear.
So you mean that you would separate the elevator from the house by some type of landing or something?
No, just that we would have a separate foundation wall, and then inset from it, we would have the elevator shaft wall.
Okay. Any other discussion? John?
Aye. If we're gonna vote, we're gonna talk some more.
I guess we are now. Bob Lemay,
Aye.
John Coker,
Aye.
Joy. You're muted, Joy.
Aye.
Joe,
No,
Larry, aye. So we've got 4, so that carries with 4. All right,
Thank you all.
I think we're in good shape. Tom, I like your
Thank you.
drawings, but maybe we could get them off now.
Thank you all for
Sorry.
the discussion.
Thank you very
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, guys. All right, next is 2810 Elbridge Way, which is solar panels. And I think Peggy was on here, but I had some texting back and forth with Peggy yesterday. And I understand Peggy actually mentioned it. I don't watch all the town council meetings, but Peggy said that you guys at the town council level voted on the solar panel ordinance on Monday, or adopted it, Bob?
We did, yes.
Okay. So Peggy, I'm not familiar with it, and I'd like for everybody to have a copy of it. So I guess the basic question I'm going to ask the building commission is, with the ordinance, if we find that Peggy's proposed solar panels meet the ordinance, can we issue the permit?
I would make that as a motion.
I'll second it. John Coker.
Any other discussion? Okay, Bob Lemay,
Aye.
John Coker,
Aye.
Joy,
Aye.
Joe,
present.
Jesus.
Okay, that's, I'm voting yes. So that's 4-1, so that carries. So Peggy, we'll take a look at that ordinance, and over the next couple of days, we should be able to, if your proposal meets the ordinance, we would be able to issue the permit. But since it's new, we all have to make ourselves comfortable with it, and that we understand it.
Understood, and thank you very much.
You bet. Number 13, I have not caught the builder there after our last meeting, Bob, where we said that we should have them remove it because it wasn't on the drawings.
Not necessarily removed, but it certainly shouldn't be projecting above their wall. The old one didn't, and the new one shouldn't.
Right. I have not, I've stopped a couple of times, but I haven't seen the owner of the company yet. So I'll make an effort next week to hit it again.
Yeah, I did drive by there yesterday. It's still up there, and my concern is they're going to want to finish that roof on that building. In fact, I think they've already done more work on the siding on that building, and I hate to see them do more work if they're going to have to tear it down.
Yeah, unfortunately with Lou out of town, it leaves, and I'm jacked up this week, but I'll try to get there next week early, maybe on Monday. Next is 2919 Roslyn.
Larry,
Yeah, Joe?
what is that one? I think that's just been there for a while. I believe if that was for a shed, I see that we issued a permit 21-9-167.
Okay, well then, Joe, that's my mistake, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
2101 Lakeshore Drive. Let's demo the existing and build a new home. I looked at everything. The only thing that I'm concerned about was the setback on the corner lot. I talked to Lou this week. As soon as he gets back, we're going to take a run over there and make sure that both he and I are on the same page. And we'll report back to you guys.
But Larry, the only thing that I thought possibly, but if you guys checked it, was the height. There was one section of the home that looked like the height was more than 27, because that whole property should be 27 feet, correct?
It could be 27 or 33. It depends on.
But it's all flat. So
We'll check that while we're there.
yeah, because I think if it's flat property, isn't it 27 all the way? Okay, you'll check.
Right. The 2516.
I've got a couple notes on that one, Larry, 2101.
Go ahead.
One was from the site plan, or what they sent us. I couldn't tell what the height of the total structure was, particularly how tall the chimney was. And then I've got a note here from Joy saying she says state calculated the lot coverage at 37.4%. So we need to double check that.
Okay, absolutely. Number 16, 2516, Joe and I talked about it this morning. That's another one that shouldn't really be on here.
Larry,
Yeah,
the only question is, there are two. The 2516 is the one for the foundation that we approved, but then he has another one to do more work on the house, and then he just resubmitted some more paperwork, but so I don't think we can discuss it yet, but just so you know, there is a second 2516 permit that he's looking for.
okay. Steve, you want to discuss what you're going to do there? I'm going to be right. Joe, plenty of those.
Gotta unmute, Steve.
Steve, you're muted.
Steve, you got to unmute yourself.
How's that now? Can you hear me?
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. We had submitted the plans last month, and the most recent were the same plans with a little additional clarity. What we're doing with this house is, number one, the plans as submitted, the house is non-conforming for parking space and for percent lot coverage. The proposed plans that have been submitted are to, number one, put a garage in and also provide parking. So there'll be 3 parking spaces. And the overall lot coverage is less than the original house, no matter, you couldn't go with the natural ordinary high water mark because there's no vegetation, it doesn't exist. So we're using the ordinary high water mark, which was established by Edgewater. Steve Thate provided a survey that shows the calculations for lot coverage, and it also shows it with the changes we're making. The other aspect of that is we have cross-sectional views, and Jeff Wright is on, to show what we have to do in order to provide a direct route from the elevation of the Lakeshore Drive to the garage. So the elevations meet, and by our calculations and the interpretation of elevations, we are within the code, depending upon how you want to calculate, which I don't know that I understand. Do you call the grade at Lakeshore Drive, or do you call it where our garage begins? Either place, it still meets the elevation requirements for the code. And the intent is the clients are getting older. He already has a handicap, to provide them access from the garage into the house. And we're renovating the house due to the fact that they had about 80-some thousand gallons of water that went through the house that basically destroyed the house. The footprint of the existing house will remain. The foundation's going to be there. We're going to add on to the foundation, but the area where it's being added on, there's already lot coverage there. So I don't believe, other than renovating a house, this is, the way I read the code, we're actually putting the house in conformance, which my interpretation means that, we've accomplished everything that you would ask for, and this should be able to be voted on. The engineering aspect of it will complete, and that's what Jeff Wright is here. He's a licensed engineer. He'll finish that aspect of it, but we're not going to do the engineering work until we get an understanding that what we're submitting is acceptable. And these plans have been submitted for, I believe, 6 weeks.
So my comment is, if this is a rehab, then if you're over 35%, that could be grandfathered in. But if it's demo and new construction, then you're going to be bound by.
It's not demo. The foundation will remain. We are not going outside that footprint. It's a renovation.
What's the legal definition of demo versus new construction?
50%, it's in our ordinances. If 50% of a building is destroyed or demoed, then you're not grandfathered anymore.
Yeah, and this is Chris. Larry has pointed out on many occasions, not with this particular project, but the international code is adopted by reference, and while in many communities it has been informally kind of understood that if you work within the footprint, it's a remodel or rehab, but the letter of the law does not. That isn't the case, and you guys have not been following that. So that'd be something that Mr. Wilson's burden to show that it isn't more than 50%, and if it isn't, then he's in compliance.
And the other concern I had was with the height. If indeed, even if we're calling it a rehab, then it looks to me like the proposal was to increase the volume of a non-conforming property, which our ordinances expressly prohibit. Am I right? Were we increasing the volume?
Right. If it's a non-conforming property and you're increasing the volume, it can require a variance.
What does that mean?
I couldn't hear you, Steve.
Well, number one, we're making this a conforming lot, and depending upon how you calculate coverage, our coverage is only 30%. And what does volume actually mean? How does that have anything to do with the code?
Volume is length times width times height.
It's written in the code, Steve. It's in the,
Is that non-conformance? Is that only concerning non-conformance?
Yes, that's in the non-conforming
But
ordinance.
this will be a conforming building site. As it's drawn, we meet all the codes.
how many square feet is the lot?
The lot is, based on the DNR ordinary high water mark, the square footage is 11,508 feet.
Hold on, I'm gonna see if I
And
can.
it shows it on the site plan.
Screen.
If you pull up Steve Fate's site plan, he shows the calculations.
Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can't pull up, the information on this.
You're using 10,025, is that what you're using?
11,508.
Well, on Steve Tate's, it says lot, number 6, lot size, square footage, 10,025. Am I looking at the wrong plan? That's what you provided. It's stamped October 5th.
Well, there's numerous. If you use a DNR ordinary high water mark, it's 11,508. There are other calculations too.
Where do you have these calculations at? I'm looking,
Right on the survey, on Steve Fate's survey, right in the middle, you can see them.
Hold on. I'm looking at the Edgewater, so it's not the Edgewater one, right?
No, it's not the Edgewater.
So Edgewater was wrong, you're saying?
I'm saying, Joe, what does that designation mean? What you're referring to with Edgewater? What does it call it nowadays?
And we're looking for the square, you know what it means, Steve.
Well, no, show me.
We're looking for square footage of what
They
this
show
is.
lot square footage.
And you're
They
putting
show
in,
lot square footage
putting
on
in
the Edgewater of
And Steve,
11,625 square feet.
Hey, only one of you guys can talk at a time.
you're putting in a brand new garage, you're putting in an addition on the right-hand side or the east side. You're putting in a lot of things, and how much of the coverage is it being used? That's what the question is. And
I'm
like I
saying
said, you're not-
Edgewater calls out 2 square footages. The lot size square footage from the natural ordinary high water mark is actually 11,625 square feet. We use the ordinary high water mark, which gives us a lot square footage of 11,508. Either of them, with what we're doing to the existing house, we're at just a little over 30% lot coverage. So we're meeting the ordinance for lot coverage. We're meeting the ordinances for parking requirements. We're meeting the ordinance for height requirements. Well,
Okay, can you guys see this now?
Yep.
All right. Right to your left, where my arrow is, or pardon me, your right, my other left, is the existing foundation. And then this hatched, purple hatched is the new proposed foundation. So Steve, are you guys tearing the house down except for the foundation?
we are not tearing the house down. We're using the existing foundation and building from there.
Right, but you're tearing the house down to the foundation, correct?
If we prefer to do that. If I have to, in order to keep this a renovation, I'll leave the walls that are existing up. I don't care.
The bottom line is, if you're taking down 50% or more of the structure, then you're not grandfathered. So,
But even if we're not grandfathered, we meet code. We haven't changed the number of bedrooms. We're not altering anything in that regard. In fact, we're making it more to code and more accessible to the Lins.
one of the issues I could tell you right now is on this sheet that we've got right here, the elevations, there's no height of the building from the ridge line to the bottom of the foundation where it comes out of the ground. So you're going to have to get.
Well, no, there's a cross-sectional view if you go to another page. Jeff, do you want to jump in here? That's been calculated at the front of the house. Keep going.
That's it. That's all we've got.
I've got a cross section, Steve. I don't know if they have it in their set or not, but I can.
That's the cross-sectional view that Jeff did. It shows where the garage is at. It shows the overall height. It's there.
But is this the height of the ridge right here?
Yes. That's the highest part of the house.
Here's the problem. You'll have to point out or show us where grade is.
Well, that's what these elevations are all shot by fate.
Right. It does. The elevations are fine, but you're going to have to show us where grade is. So you got.
Well, that's what that cross-sectional view shows. It shows what grade is as shot by fate.
Right. But Steve, it's not our job to figure out where the grade of the land is surrounding this area.
Jeff, do you want to jump in here, please?
Yeah, the spot elevations that you're looking at on the drawings are off of the Steve's survey, his topographic survey, the 607, the asphalt grade. Those are off of the topo, and I can show you that on the topo map, but I'm not sure how to share the screen.
Here's the problem. The problem is there is no grade of land that's as a reference to where your foundation comes out of the ground. That's what we're looking for.
I guess it's on the section. I don't know what you're asking me for.
I'm asking, where is the grade of the land surrounding the foundation? Let's not play stupid here. We need the grade. So, what's going to be? Where is it going to be on pipe? Let's just get what you need to provide us is where's the grade? Okay, you told me. Anybody can read this asphalt grade. So, is this all exposed up in the air, or is this underground?
That's a step footing underground
Okay, so what we need to know is where the grade of the ground is relative to the house. Then you need to provide the point at which that foundation comes out of the ground up to the ridge line. That's what we're asking you for. And
so the grade of the ground is the stairs along the edge of the wall, and it goes down to the grade that goes up to the door in the house.
You need to spell that out on the drawing,
So,
okay?
sure, absolutely.
All right.
Can I ask you, just, and I'll let you go. Is this a 5-bedroom house? How many bedroom house is this? I'm sorry?
Look on the drawing.
Look at the drawing.
Because what you're saying is that the basement is the existing floor now, and then the garage level is the main floor. Is that the way you're using it? I'm just curious. And then where's the septic for this house?
Seawall.
I'm sorry?
On the lake, behind the seawall.
On the lake side of the seawall?
The lakeside behind the seawall. It's between the house and the seawall.
Oh, it's the hills. All right.
And we are not adding any
4
more
bedrooms,
bedrooms
Joe.
than what the house originally had.
It's 4 bedrooms, Joe.
Well, the way I saw the drawings, there's 2 bedrooms on the basement level, and there's 2 bedrooms on the new level.
That's, no.
Here's the lower level. There's no bedrooms there. Here's the main level where you got 3 bedrooms, and then here's the upper level where you have a master bedroom, so that's 4.
Wait, there's 3 there. All right, well, we can look at it.
Got it? See these?
He's got to give
Master
us
bedrooms up here. And you got 3 bedrooms on the main floor in the master. That's 4 bedrooms.
I think we need setbacks. We need to know about the height, because it's really not fair to you guys to come to this building commission with less than complete information and then expect us to make a last-minute decision with brand-new information. We need a chance to study.
You've had it all.
No, we haven't. Larry explained to you what we need.
Okay, we had it already.
So help me be clear, can I just ask real quick on that section, back down that one right there. The grade is, you want me to call out the grade on the stairs there, correct?
Yeah, a cross-sectional view of the house parallel to the shore would be great.
Is
And
this
then you
basement-
want the grade from the stairs up to the door of the house, Lee.
No, we want to know the height of the building out of the ground.
And then get a dimension from the door down to the foot.
All right, let me ask you this. Is this a walkout? And this west elevation, is this?
That's underground on the west elevation there. I mean, it's underground. Where your arrow's pointing, if that's what you're asking, that's underground. That's the foundation wall on the south side of the house.
The simplest way to do it is to show the grade on the elevations and on the section. And then then you should also make note of what that, when the foundation comes out of the ground to the ridge line. That'll give us the height of the building.
What is on there, but I guess we could do it again. This is not gonna be voted on. But that cross-section view does state, it shows what the height is.
Where? I sure as heck don't see it.
Go back to that original cross-section view. And then Jeff, why don't you pick it up from there? Keep going up there. I think it's page 3. Page 3 shows it. The next page. Okay, Jeff?
You scroll down just a little bit farther. And I gotta do something here. So the grade is the grade along the stairs that are there. And at the bottom of the stairs, the grade goes back up to meet the door. And then there's a dimension from the finished floor down to the floors. So I guess I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, I can add more stuff on there, Larry, if you need me to add more
Okay,
stuff on there.
what's this number right here? I can't see it when I blow it up, it pixelates.
Let me see if I can get it on mine. That's, 29.7.
Okay, so you got 29.7. And is this the walkout here?
Towards the right end, towards the right, yes, towards the right
Okay.
end.
So then grade is down about where the top of this received is?
I have to get back to your screen.
Okay, so if that's where grade is, then we need to know the height from here all the way up to the ridge line here.
Option of picking one or the other.
Could be 27 feet on the street side and you could be 33 feet on the lake side.
Have to be both.
What the hell? So
It's 18.8 from the street down to the footing. It's 18.8.
okay, so what is it here? From where this comes out of the ground all the way up to the ridge line? This is the ridge line, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we need the dimension from there. If this is the walkout to here. So this is the lowest level, right? Where my arrow is, where you got sliders here.
So that total dimension from the top of the footing is
I don't know the
39.11.
top of the footing. The top of the footing is below grade. We need from the grade, this is the lowest grade, correct? Where the sliders are and you're walking out down here.
Yeah.
Okay, we need the dimension from here up to this ridge line. That dimension is allowed by ordinance to be 33 feet.
All right, I got to get back to your screen.
Larry, is it best that you get different drawings so then we don't spend the rest of the afternoon?
Yeah, because we really need drawings that are easy to interpret for our records, even if we approve it.
We need,
Jeff, why don't you get some drawings together and send them off to Steve and myself? And then, or Steve, if you want to bring them in my office, we'll go over them. Then I can get a hold of these guys. If we have to have a special meeting, we'll have to have a special meeting. We got to have those dimensions done. And then I think we'd be in good shape.
All right.
And the setbacks. You got the setbacks on there, Jeff?
Everything's on the survey. We meet all the setbacks, all of it's there.
So I just, on my end of it, Larry, I've got the structural part. I've got the planks. I got the retaining walls. The site plan is Steve Tate. The architectural is by somebody else. I have the structural portions.
Oh, you don't have these site plans
I have the site plans, I've got the surveys, I have everything that's relevant to the job. It's just, I don't do the architecture. I only do the physics and the engineering of the building itself.
So we need to get those dimensions on the drawings. That's as simple as we can make it for you. If you get the dimensions and make sure that you've got all the, I can't read what this number is. If, that's got to be 6 feet. This has got to be 6 feet. This has got to be 15 feet. And then I heard discussion about where the extraordinary high water mark is. Make sure that you get that called out on here so we don't have an issue when you come back. All right? Okay.
The way that code reads, and somebody needs to tell me, it says 27 feet or 33. It's one or the other, right? It's not both.
You have to
On
meet
the high side, it's on the high side of the lot, you could be 27, but you can't be over 33 on the low side of the lot.
Based on that requirement, there are houses on, I mean,
Steve, we're getting a lot of feedback. I don't know if you got something, maybe the phone right by your computer or something. No, we can't hear you at all.
All right, Larry, can we just go on?
Yeah, we need to move on.
All right, so you guys get the drawings back to me, Steve, then we'll bring them to my office, we'll look over them, and then we can get it back with these guys and get something done. All right?
thank you.
Okay. Let's go through these before we hit the electrical inspector. Let's go through what we've got here.
All right, so Larry, we covered the first two just now.
All right.
Now we're on 2716.
You want to talk about that, Joe?
It depends. I don't know. The big one question I have about this property is the way he gets into the garage is by driving on the neighbor's property. I don't know what that means to us. That's his entrance to the garage. But, we have to review this a little bit, but that was one question.
What is it, 2716 Roslyn?
Right.
Hello, this is Diane Mustaine. I'm the owner of the property you're talking about.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, my architect, Chris Garcia, was supposed to be on the call.
I'm actually
Chris. I don't know if you can answer the question about the driveway, but we've owned the house since 2006, and we didn't put that driveway in there. It was already there. We share part of the driveway with the Kohlers next door to us, but we certainly didn't build that driveway. We've never had any issue with that.
If it makes sense,
we're not changing the driveway.
Yeah, I was just going to say I could pull up the drawings. Basically, the point of this, us being on this call today was we're trying to renovate the house right now. We're trying to add a bedroom, actually not even add a bedroom. We're trying to avoid adding to our bedroom counts currently. So we have an existing septic tank right now that, no, that's not I can pull up drawings if it makes sense. I can show you.
I've got them here, I just can't seem to get them pulled up.
Okay. But yeah, so the goal was to not add to the account of 3. So we're trying to avoid having to add a septic tank because we can't. The site restricts the fact that we can add a septic tank. Right now, currently, we do have an updated site plan in our drawing set. But it does show that the driveway is on our property line currently.
Can you guys see these drawings?
Yeah.
So that's our permit application, but in our drawing set, we actually have a updated plat of survey that we had created.
In there. There it is.
Go. Yep. So you can see the driveway is actually on our lot line. It's inside of our lot line. The driveway kind of splits between the two lots.
Like I say, but to get to that point D, where you have, you can't get there through your property, and you have to go through the other guy's property. Is this?
No, that's our driveway right there. Correct.
You can drive through there.
Yeah.
There's 2 separate entrances. Yeah, there's the neighbor's driveway and our driveway. We don't have to enter through their entrance.
They're on separate lots, but it's a common piece of asphalt.
That's correct, Larry. That's correct. Yes, it's one huge driveway, but we have our own portion of that driveway.
All right, so let's take a look at
So what you'll see there is what we're doing is we're adding a link between the main house and the garage, and we're trying to build out the attic space of the existing garage.
Larry, could I just ask a quick question while I'm still there? Can you move that slide up just a hair, Larry? There you go, up a little higher. Okay. Now, what my question was, and no big deal, I'm just trying to understand, where it has the words proposed 2-story addition, right there, those words.
Yes.
Don't move the thing, right? Leave it to where it is. It has those words, proposed 2-story addition. And over here, you have something that's 18.6, that's some square footage. And then over here, as you move along, you get D, which looks like maybe asphalt or something.
No, the 18.6 feet is the distance between the garage and the lot line.
Okay, but it doesn't look like, it's not the same color, so I assume it's not a driveway. I assume it's empty lot. What is that?
No,
this is the apron to get into the garage.
Exactly. But what
the
I'm
driveway,
saying,
where it says proposed 2-story addition, that's the driveway.
that is a driveway. It didn't look like, by coloring, it looked like it wasn't the driveway.
No, it is.
Okay, and how wide is that driveway?
148 feet.
No, how wide? Not long.
I don't know.
I mean, can you fit a car down that? I'm just asking, can you fit a car down that driveway? How wide is it?
Well, I can tell you, we had a fire call at the house and we got our truck down that driveway.
Okay, I'm not gonna, okay, all I'm saying is, you don't know if you're on the driveway or you don't know if you're on the neighbor's property.
Right. I don't know how wide that is, Joe.
That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Well, Chris, would you tell me again what you...
So the problem is, so when the Mustangs came to us, the goal was to add a true third bedroom into this house. And right now there's a bedroom on the main floor, and there are some existing floor plans. If you scroll down, we did do a full field survey of the house. So right now there's a bedroom on the main floor, and then there's 2 bedrooms that were kind of built out years back. You can see there to the right. And the bedroom to the top, the roof lines are so tight, you can't get bedrooms, you can barely get beds in there. There are no existing closets in there. Right now, you basically have little cubbies that they built into the voids of the roof. So the goal was to have a full master bedroom And so what we're trying to do is convert the one bedroom that's not really usable into a den, and then make the space above the garage an actual like guest bedroom, master bedroom with a bathroom. And what we're doing is we're connecting the house to the new two-story addition is connecting the house to the garage. And it doesn't take us over our square footages, though we're well below the allowable buildable square footage per zoning codes, which was like 30% of the lot. And it's on our cover sheet, but we're probably 1,000 square feet below what's required. So that's the goal today, we just want to confirm that we can convert that what's quote unquote a third bedroom. We just want to make that a den and make this area above the garage the new bedroom, third bedroom. Go ahead.
We're going to have to review that. Typically, guest rooms or bedrooms above garages are not allowed. But when you're connecting it, I don't know if that may make that ordinance moot. I'm going to have to read it.
Okay. I mean, we could also make that. We could also get rid of the closets and make it a bonus room. That's what we were kind of talking about. What are our options to do this renovation?
Does that shared driveway in the setback make this a non-conforming property?
No, we meet all the required setbacks right now. I mean, we're not,
your driveway doesn't. It's in the setback.
I'm not sure what you're saying, Bob.
Well, that driveway that they share with the neighbor is in the setback, right?
Yes.
So doesn't that make this a non-conforming property, or does the fact that it's a shared driveway invalidate that?
Well, a driveway can be in the setback.
right,
But
that's just impervious, right?
it's because it's a shared driveway. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you wanted to cut a slot down, 6 inches either side of the lot line and say, this is yours and this is mine.
Okay. I'm just asking the question.
Bob, no, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't know that I've ever looked at it that way, or we've ever had a presentation with the shared driveway. So when I looked at it, I was more of, okay, fine. And it's mainly because I know the property, because I drive by it all the time. And then we did have one fire call there. I think it was a dryer or a stove. But Chris, I would like.
It was the furnace that was overheating and cycling years ago when we weren't there. We were up to visit our son up in Michigan State, and the heater kept going and going and cycling. And so you guys came, and there wasn't any fire, but it was just overheating, and you let the heat out. But yeah, the previous owner built that 3-car garage there, and I assume that the issue of the driveway was all looked at that point in time to be able to build that large garage and its unused space. And we would actually like to have another shower, because there's only one shower in the house, because the bathroom upstairs is only a powder room because the roof slopes, and we would have to raise the roof to try to build a shower. And Chris has looked every which way at this angle. We've had other architects looked at it. We're really trying to get another shower in the house, because when you have numerous guests, especially in the summer, people want to take a shower. And so we're hoping for grandkids down the road, and we'd like to have another full bedroom where you can actually have a closet you can hang clothes in, and not just, as Chris said, a cubby hole in the two small rooms upstairs. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah, and we don't go over we did do plumbing calculations, so we don't need to upgrade the service. The sanitary lines meet code requirements. I mean, like she said, there's a toilet and a small vanity up in that existing bathroom, and it's just the door hits the ceiling. So again, when this was renovated prior to the Mustaines buying this, it was just poorly done, unfortunately, and it's really difficult to use. And so this would just make, they want to retire in this house, and so this would just make it such a better home for them. And so I think we'll accommodate whatever decision you come to, whether it just becomes a bonus room or if we can make it a bedroom. We're just trying to make it a better livable space for them.
Well, if you'd give me a few days to look through and make sure that on this garage with the living space above it, I'm just not sure if we're, by connecting that, it negates the ordinance or is still conforming or not. So I'm going to have to look through that, maybe bounce it off Chris. But it's clear that you meet the lot area and dimensions and the square foot coverage that you've got listed here. So,
And there are building sections, and there are, I mean, because our thought was that now you're kind of creating an attached garage. It's basically as if it was an attached garage always, with just a bonus area above the garage. That was the thought process behind just attaching it. If you look at the new floor plans, it's now all one building, so it creates a nice sitting area for them right off of the kitchen. There's a stairwell that goes up to that attic area space, so it's not like you have to go in the garage to go up. It's really a part of the house now, if you look at the building sections and the new proposed floor plans.
right.
So, I mean, hopefully, yeah, I mean, I understand you have to take the time to review it, thoroughly review it, so.
We'll do that, and then maybe if you could contact me next week sometime, we could have discussion about what I found.
Okay, that would be great.
Right.
I don't have your email address, but my email address, I do have my information, so if you can just...
Mine is Larry at wallconstructorsinc.com.
Okay, great.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank
I will
you.
reach out to you next week then.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure. All right, Joe, you want to hit this next one?
Yeah, the next one, 2000 Juneway, Lou said that he had talked to Big Four, and we were just waiting for plans because what he's doing with the living room ceiling, we just wanted to see the plans for that, and that's basically what we're looking for.
Okay, then we're waiting on plans.
Okay.
The 2014 Oriole Trail.
The next one, that's a non-conforming lot, and I think that there's some side setback issues.
Right, there are.
And I think maybe the fellows on the line with us.
Yes, sir. I'm the landscape contractor looking to build a new deck for the Walshes.
Right.
Yeah, right now, basically, they have an existing deck that's 16.1 feet wide by 15.8 feet deep, and it is 9 feet up in the air, and we're just asking if we can add another 4 feet to the depth when it's taken down and rebuilt. And I did the calculations. I know it's non-conforming, but I did the calculations, and they do have 500 square feet of like extra land, if you will, to mess with, and we're asking for 68 square feet to add 4 feet to the deck.
Okay. The only thing is, one, you gave us a surveyor location report, which isn't always the best for survey, but on there, I was just looking at it, and you've got something on there that says building for elevator, and it looks like a little square or something that's in the side setback. And then also you're saying that the existing deck is also in the side setback, where it's not 10 feet, it's 7.2 feet. And where's the extra 4 feet going on that deck that's existing on this diagram?
Into the backyard. They call it the elevator shaft. Basically, it may have been at one time. Right now, it's empty. They want to keep that intact for storage.
Okay.
We would leave that in place, and basically the 4 feet would be going into the backyard, 4 feet deeper.
Okay, but then you realize that the deck is in the side setback.
Yeah, I'm not really, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not really too familiar with that part of it.
Do you have that document in front of you, the surveyor location report?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
And if you look at it where it says deck, and you see the arrow, it says 7.2, there you go. See, a little bit further down already.
Right, that's I believe that's a ramp coming from their sidewalk to get from the side of the house to the deck on that side.
Okay, but like I say, anyway. So those were the questions, Larry, and that's why, because they're talking about adding 13 steps. Is it what you're saying? You want to do a 20 by 20 deck with adding 13?
Well, the steps are already in existence right now with the original deck. And we're basically, we're not asking for a 20 by 20, we're asking for a 16.1, which is original right now, by 20. So we're just asking for four more feet into the backyard, times that 15.8 feet, which comes out to about 68 square feet.
So, Larry, that's why Lou and I thought it should come to you guys, and you guys decide if he's got to go to the BZA or if this is good enough and we can approve it.
Well, you got a lot of 10,500, so you're non-conforming at that point, which means anything that you would enlarge would have to go before the BZA, enlarge the footprint. So I know you're also encroaching on the side setback, if I'm reading this right.
So I'd make a motion, we send them to the BZA, and Larry can send them a letter as to exactly what ordinances they need a variance from.
Okay, Bob, we'll do that. I don't know that we need a motion for that. I'll just do it.
Okay, that one.
All right. Next.
The next one, Lou talked to him, 2519 Glendale Way.
I'm sorry, can I say one more thing, please?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to understand, where does that put us at right now? Where do we go from here then?
Well, your lot's non-conforming, and if you're increasing it any footprint, it has to go before the BZA. You would have to get a variance to increase the footprint of the property.
Okay, I'm just throwing this out there after I talk to the owner. If they were to decide to leave everything as is, just tear down what's existing and build it exactly like it is today,
then that could be done. That could be done.
All right, I appreciate your input, and I'll be keeping in touch.
Okay, sounds good.
Make sure you get back to Lou if you're going to do that, and just give us an edited building permit application.
All right, yes, sir.
So Joe, on 2519 Glendale, you said that Lou's talked to them?
Yeah, Lou talked to them, and he's waiting for more information on that property.
Okay. 2044 Lakeshore Drive fence. I talked to Bill Ryan on the fence.
Right.
And, he's lowering it to 4 feet. There was an error of listing as 6 foot, and it has to be 6 inches inside his property line. He's only putting it on one side.
And Lou was just waiting. Lou was just waiting for him to show the property line, so he knows exactly where he's putting it.
Yeah. So that certainly could be approved, and then Lou will have to look at his, make sure he's 6 inches off.
Yeah, he's waiting for the guy to line it for him so he knows where he's at.
Got it. The stop 25.
I think that has to go to the DNR. Lou and I talked about it, because that's the one where he wants clean sand it's clean fill sand. I don't think we can tell him that he could add sand.
Yeah, I think if he makes a call, Sean, are you on? He's not on. I think if he makes a call to Steve Davis, Steve may tell him, right, who's the local guy, right away that he can do it, because they're certainly not going to complain about somebody putting fill in.
And then Larry, if you talk to him, just ask him to give us something in writing from Steve Davis so we got it for our records.
Yeah, I'll have him contact them.
Okay.
2311 Hazeltine
2311.
is, go ahead.
I'm sorry. He's got a screen, he's got a deck, and they want to put a screen porch over the deck, and that's a non-conforming lot, so that's a volume issue. I believe, unless you want to review it, that they have to go to the BZA.
No, if their lot's undersized, then they would have to go to the BZA.
Okay? So that's what you'll have to write them a letter?
Right.
I'm the homeowner here. I just have a question for you.
Shoot.
So my understanding is that because we're just building the screened-in porch and we're still under the 35%, that it shouldn't be an issue. That was what the architect had told me. She couldn't be on the call today, but we are under the 35%.
Okay, so here's what happens. If you have a lot that's non-conforming by size, you can decrease the non-conformity, and we can issue a permit at our level, or you can replace with light, and that's within our authority. If you're going to increase the footprint, we can't give you that permit. That has to come to the BZA.
But I don't think we're increasing the footprint, though.
Larry, this is the volume. This is volume.
Yep.
They're putting it over the deck, so they're adding volume, Larry.
Yeah.
It's the garage that's non-conforming. Do you have the plans there? I don't know if that.
Yeah, I'm going to pull them up. Just give me a second.
Basically, if you have a non-conforming lot, you're not allowed to do anything that increases the volume of your structures.
And what you're doing is you're putting over the screened-in porch over the deck, and that's increasing volume. That's what we're talking about.
I have a permit, but I don't have drawings.
They were submitted.
Hi, my name's Jordan. I'm the general contractor. Those were submitted, and I dropped off a copy to Lou.
Yeah, we have them.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I have them. They did three things, Larry. They submitted.
He's holding out on me. You didn't send them to me?
They submitted on October 4th, October 20th, and October 22nd. And it all should have came from Deanna. It's all the same things.
Yeah.
So you should be on it, Larry.
All right, hold on. No, that's just the permit.
Do you have one from October 20th from her?
Hold on. Got it. Just a second. I'll share it here.
worked with Heidi Hornaday on this, and I know she designed it, so she thought that it would meet all the requirements.
Heidi's usually pretty good at doing this.
Oh, I don't know about that, Larry, across the street from them. She wasn't very good with that swimming pool stuff.
Okay. Heidi's, I'm talking about, she's pretty good at listing all the stuff that we need. So you got a 10,000 square foot lot, 10,485 square foot lot. It looks like you're decreasing the nonconformity.
But they're increasing the volume with that sunroom.
Okay. Let me talk to Heidi.
That would be great. Thank you.
Larry, I can't see how, okay, you talk to her, but get back to us unless I'm seeing something wrong. It seems clear to me that there's an addition of volume and it's that simple.
Right. And I just want to talk to Heidi, make sure I understand what she's thinks about what she's got going on here, and then we'll be able to inform the owners one way or the other.
Okay, you can get back to us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm about running out of voice here, so we're going to have to go pretty quick here.
Okay, I'll just rattle them off real fast. The next one I got on there because we did approve. This is for the Smiths and the old Kennebec house at 26 Lakeshore Drive. We did approve for the do the garage, but what we need yet from her, and I think Larry, you've talked to her, is that we need the total plans to show all the work that they want done. So it's not just the garage. But the garage has been approved by the BZA and we approved it. But we're just waiting for the total package. The next one is the one we talked about already, which is solar. So we go on to the next one. The next one is just a note that what we get with Jeans, they owe us a report from Laporte for the septic. Not a big deal.
Are you following through on that, Joe, or do I?
We're calling them. Lou's called them, and if we don't get it, I'll call them. It's been a while, but anyway. So we'll get that report for our file, and then the next one, Larry, is the one we talked about, and you feel like there was enough for 1% for the shed. I explained to you that his lot
calculation was incorrect.
Yeah. So, because we got to use that 18, I'll send you a letter that they sent me so you can see it. And then we can talk about it if you want. You want to come back on that one?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Then the next one, Lou was going to go and just double check that project. It just seemed like there was a little bit more to the project than maybe that he had. So Lou was going to check on that one. And then the next one, what was the the next one, Lou was waiting for them, like the same thing, to show the 6-inch setback so then he could approve where they're putting the fence. And the last one is Cleary, which we already talked about. So that's everything, Larry.
Okay. Last thing that we have on, oh my God. Got a fire call. Well, let's see. What is it? All right. The last thing on here is the electrical inspector. Outside of the building commission, the town council had voted to hire an electrical inspector.
Actually, that's the call of the building commission.
Right.
They made a recommendation.
Right.
Yes.
So what ended up happening is the new electrical inspector, I think he quit. Was it his first job, Bob?
Before his first job.
Before his first job, he quit. So we had another applicant at that time, which I don't know, Bob, are we supposed to do this in executive session when you talk about employment?
Well, I suppose.
Let's be clear, first of all, it's not an employment, right? This is a subcontractor and not an employee. But details of who, I mean, what's up for discussion is the hiring, right? And you have some candidates as well as a proposed contract, and those aren't necessarily mutually exclusive things either.
Good. Chris, I just have a question. Like you're saying, this is a subcontractor. Who are we talking about? You mean you're saying the electrical inspector is a subcontractor and not an employee?
Correct.
That's my understanding of how it's proposed and how it's been handled by the town, and that my understanding of what the proposal is for this inspector as well.
And you're saying, and we're saying then that Lou Mellon, the building inspector, is a part-time employee.
I do not know, because you said part-time employee versus sub. I'm only speaking on this electrical inspector, much like the contract with the county, the interlocal agreement that's intended to be at minimum stopgap. Those are contractual things and not employee issues, and those have ramifications for the town.
No, I can appreciate the Laporte would be sub, but I don't know who and how it gets determined whether it's a subcontractor or not. For the electrical inspector, I would think it'd be similar to the building inspector.
No, that's not true. The building inspector is an employee. The electrical inspector is a contractor.
But I understand what you just said, Bob, but who's making this determination and why is there a difference?
That's the way it's always been, and the town clerk has confirmed that that's the way he's treating them.
Well,
and that's how they've been reported, and that's how, if there's a true discussion on that or you want to change that, I would suggest that you talk about employment issues and the details of them in an executive session.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks, Chris.
All right, let's do this then. Let's plan an executive session. Maybe we could, Bob, can we do that like before the next meeting, like a half hour early, or?
Chris, can we do that, or is that not allowed?
What, can we do what?
Larry's suggesting we have an executive session to talk about this. I'm not sure.
You can have an executive session to talk about, what I would suggest is, first of all, we determine if you're discussing candidates and the details of them, that's different versus how you want to treat this position. And maybe with regard to that, and if there's an issue, I would suggest that you have either send a representative for this building commission and discuss it with the town council, or have a workshop on that. I don't think that those are in and of itself worthy of an exec session. That's something that needs to be discussed at a public meeting.
Right. No, that we're really talking about.
But candidates should be in an exec session.
Okay, so you want to have an exec session to talk about this, Larry? I'm good with that.
Yeah, let's just make it.
And let's be clear, it's candidates for employees, right? And a subcontractor, somebody who's not an employee of the town, there may be a nuance there. So I would suggest that you determine whether we have an exec session worthy topic at a different day. I don't think you're going to decide that today.
Okay, so Chris, can you check and see
I
if
will
we can
touch
have
base with
exec
you.
session regarding a subcontractor? That's what we need, I guess, right?
Right.
Okay.
Now, mine was more of just the individual, not necessarily the payment, that type of hiring, but
Yeah.
all right, let's do that. Chris and I'll get together and then we'll figure out what we want to do and let you guys know.
Okay. Couple other things. Larry and Chris and Lou got together and came up with a new violations form that'll do a better job of explaining to violators what they're in violation of. It'll list what ordinances they violated, what they need to do. The town council approved those being printed up, and basically I just want to let people on this committee know that that is being done, and Lou will start issuing those new tickets, which will hopefully be a little more clear.
Great. Anything else, Bob?
The other thing is that town council had suggested that we might benefit from a secretary for you to do the minutes, for Larry to use. I'm sorry, for Joe to use. And so I wanted to bring that up at this meeting, and if that's the case, we can maybe start doing a search to see if there's somebody who could do that. Any comments on that, or?
I'm all for it.
Yep, my feeling is any help we can get.
I think John Coker should do it.
He's
writers.
retired, he'll tell you.
I'll second that.
Bob,
Yeah.
I would think whatever terminology you want to use, you know, we want to call it an assistant, you want to call it a secretary, you want to call it whatever.
Yeah.
But like I say, I have certain things that would be easily given to this person.
Yep.
And we could work on stuff without a doubt. And so whatever the title you want to be, and the only thing is just from my point of view, I don't know about Larry's, but my point of view is for my tasks and things would be the knowledge of Excel and the knowledge of Word.
Yeah.
Those were the two things they need. I think that would be the same thing you'd want, Larry, if somebody's going to help you with things.
Yep.
So I think we should move forward, Bob. I think that would be a great help to all of us.
All right, I'll pass that on. That's all I've got.
Any other building commission members have anything? Joy?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second that.
I have to wait. We have to have public comment.
Oh, damn.
I take that.
Public comment.
Mr. Walt, Jim Nyla, 2201 Florimon.
Hey, Jim.
I'm sorry to hear that you're losing your voice. I was going to put in a request for the Notre Dame fight song for you to sing today. But I'd like to direct my question to Building Commission and Town Council member John Coker. John, are you on?
I think I'm just about ready to go off. Now I'm on, Jim.
Hi, John. John, I was wondering if we might be able to set up a time where we could discuss the Coker Amendment. I have a few suggestions to actually improve it. And with that being on your name, it being the Coker Amendment, I think you might be willing to discuss it.
I think that was Bob LeMay's.
What are you guys talking about?
This is Chris. What is the amendment?
The Coker Stair Amendment. I think, Chris, you were the actual one that named it the Coker Stair Amendment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if that's the case, but I do want to point out that any changes you're referring to a zoning, and because the only reason I'm engaging in this conversation is because we have so few people on, because I normally don't take it or make it a practice of engaging in the public comments. But I just want to be clear of the process. This is the building commission. Any changes or discussion fall under the APC and or town council. So any future amendments, changes, they certainly, while Mr. Coker is a member of this building commission, the changes get initiated by the APC and or the town council. So to be clear, brief on that process.
Thank you, Chris, for clarifying that, but that was my understanding too. Mr. Coker, is there a chance that we could meet?
Yeah, we could, I suppose, but I don't know what good it'll do.
What's the best way for me to get hold of you?
Do anything, and want to do it in front of the whole council, not just me and.
Right, that's not our bailiwick here.
Well, I'm asking Mr. Coker for a meeting. I know in the beginning of your meeting, you had a couple of stairs discussion, and I think it's germane. And all I'm asking Mr. Coker if he'll meet with me.
Right, but I mean, I think you guys could hash that out over the phone and meet.
Okay, Mr. Coker, I've tried to email you. You haven't responded. What's the best way for me to get a hold of you?
Email.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Jim?
No, thank you, Larry. Maybe next month you could do the song.
Okay. All right. Any other public comment?
Hi, it's Anita Remages, 2300 Florimond. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
thank you for everything that you're doing. It's time consuming, it's detailed, I appreciate it. And I am particularly grateful, having seen stairs floating in the lake, that you are continuing to task the homeowners who put up illegal stairs with either removal or paying fines. So thank you for staying on that. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Anita. Anybody else? Joy?
I move to adjourn.
I second again.
All right.
You got there, Bob.
Coker?
My grandson.
Handsome,
I'm babysitting today.
Bob, I'm telling you, looking by his face, he's not happy.
I know, he just got up from his nap.
Grandpa's making him watch Vikings replays instead of.
No, we've given up on the Vikings this year, I'm afraid.
All right, guys.
He's a little Bears fan. All right, goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Peace out.